Ricky Carmichael is about to face one of his biggest personal challenges this year, Kevin Windham and Washougal. In the last 2 years, Windham has raced here. He's won all 4 motos over his closest rival. But Ricky says he's not racing the same Kevin Windham as last year. And now that he's on a 450 to match, RC is ready to get over the hump and go into the final stretch of the season. The perfect season continues, and the perfect challenge is Washougal and round 8 on ESPN2. Welcome to Washougal, Washington. It's the 2004 AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. This weekend, it's the Scott USA Motocross Nationals at Washougal Motocross Park. And a picture-perfect day in the Pacific Northwest. Unseasonably warm temperatures. Todd Harris along with Davey Coop. Glad to have you along as we look at Ricky Carmichael. Will the streak stay alive? Or will the Cobra strike? Will Windham come back and do it again? And that would be the biggest subject this weekend, Davey. Kevin Windham can repeat what he did last year.
Well, Kevin Windham had beaten RC once before the 2003 AMA Motocross Series, but when he came to Washougal, it marked the second time that he's been here that he whipped RC. Beat him soundly in the first moto. In the second moto, he repeated the process. RC had to come up through past Chad Reed, but by then Windham was long gone.
Well, it is blue sky out here right now, and one of these two men could certainly join the 3-win club here at Washougal. Kevin Windham hoping it's him. Not off to his best start this year at the Outdoor Nationals.
You know, it's been a tough year so far. I haven't been able to do what I wanted, and I think what was expected of me. So, you know, I'm feeling a little bit out of the loop, I guess, so to speak. And I would love to get things turned around here. And you know, the track's been good to me, so it'd be a good place for me to start.
As we take a look at the standings thus far after 7 rounds, Ricky Carmichael, your leader, Chad Reed in second, Kevin Windham sitting currently in third, David Vuillemin on the outside looking in 4th place. But Ricky Carmichael, he has started one of those magical streaks once again. Can he keep it going here with Kevin Windham?
I beat him in '97. That's when I won my first 125 title, so I have beat him here before. And you know, I said at Unadilla, I think Kevin's a different rider this year, and you know, he's raced the whole season this year, and it wears on you. We're on the same bike, and the same story goes as Unadilla. I have no excuses, and I feel I have a good chance.
Some riders coming back from injury, namely Ezra Lusk. We haven't seen him since the St. Louis Supercross. And another face we haven't seen in a while, Doug Henry, is joining us here in Washougal. For more on that, let's check in with Davey Coons.
You know, we're used to seeing Doug Henry show up every year at Southwick or maybe even Broome, Tioga, but check it out. This time around, the former 3-time AMA National Motocross Champion has decided to come to the West Coast and race at Washougal. He's also on a Troy Lee Designs Honda. Doug's going to be riding in the X Games Supermoto contest this week, and then it's the whole AMA Supermoto Series. But for right now, good old number 19 is back, and he's a motocross racer again.
Right now, it's time to take a look at our track here at Washougal, one of the most picturesque anywhere in the world. Not the longest at 1.4 miles, but David, we should see some fast times.
Yeah, you will. And also, the track is kind of hard-packed, kind of slick today, and that plays into the 4-stroke rider's hands. And guess what? Ricky's got himself a 4-stroke now.
Well, one of the reasons it's hard-packed, the temperatures here have been unseasonably warm today, very comfortable at 78 degrees, forecast more of the same. Kevin Windham, will he get things straightened out here today? David Vuillemin, does he have the fitness to go all the way around? As we take a look at the Honda starting grid, it's Carmichael, Reed, Windham, Vuillemin, Byrne, Voss, Way, Fonseca, Hamblin, and Henry's in there. Then it's Thomas, Holland, Bucklew, Pavoni, Rodriguez, Stapleton, Aloff, Abrigo, Gibson, and the rest of the crew.
Of course, Henry did not have to qualify as a former national champion, and earlier I saw Brad Lackey,
wow,
the 1972 national champ, up in the press box. That's like, man, you got to get down there on the starting gate someday.
Bringing out all the old school as the 30 board goes sideways. 250 class from Washougal.
See RC getting a little sloppy there. It looks like he didn't get the hook up the way he normally does. And I think that is Joe Aloff, number 57 of the Subway MX team. Aloff with a whole shot. Rusty Holland in second. A couple of non-factory riders getting it done here in the first moto.
As the pack blows through in this beautiful Washougal track, it is Alof getting the first glory out in front, and now Rusty Holland takes his line away. So as soon as we give props out to 57 of Alof, Rusty Holland comes in and steals the show.
Right there you see Chad Reed, the Supercross champion, in third. Joaquim Rodriguez is fourth, and right there you just catch a glimpse of Carmichael. Not a whole shot like we've been seeing lately.
Davey Coombs Portuguese is stellar, a true Renaissance man.
Well, at least they didn't call him Rockford Players.
There are some tough names out there. One name that is very easy, Ricky Carmichael. Number 4 coming into view, Chad Reed just in front of him, number 22. This should be an interesting battle if this develops with Reed and Carmichael. And can Chad go the distance with RC at Washougal?
Well, what needs to develop is Kevin Windham has got to get his factory connection Honda up through the pack. He also kind of got a little tangled up on the starting gate. Not that great of a start. And you just see Windham coming in the picture at 6th, but Windham plays better from the front. He's not a come from behind rider.
Well, we got to give props out to Rusty Holland, Joe Alof going 1 and 2 right now, and Davey makes a good point, non-factory sport riders. And these guys are having a great show here at one of the most beautiful tracks in the world, Washougal, Washington. This is round number 8 of the Nationals. Ricky Carmichael just roosting through there.
Well, he's got some good ups on that bike. He's so small. He still looks small at 450 to me. Todd, I've never seen him look more comfortable.
Well, he handles the bike. I mean, the 450 is not a small bike, and Ricky's not a big guy. And Chad Reed right there going, youngster. Anaheim, number 1 is quite some time away, and they're just starting to warm things up.
That was a nice little bang there, but you know what? That's an on-camera corner. Like it's kind of dark back there. Now Carmichael gets by cleanly that time. It's dark back there, so I have a feeling he wasn't sure where his braking point was. And yeah, give him a little tap and let him know that you're back on track. And Chad Reed comes right back.
There we go. That's the Chad we've been looking for. Here it is again. Watch Ricky on the inside.
You see Chad square that. I don't think Ricky was expecting that. His back wheel was locked up the whole time. Check it out. Reed's going to give him a little look over shore like, hey, whoa, what's going on there? I thought we were going to wait till January.
Give Chad Reed credit. Incredible recovery at high speed.
And he comes back and passes him right back.
Maybe that's what Chad needs.
Yeah. Now they're starting to get up into the other rider. You see Alof. Holland's still your leader. Alof riding strong in second. Carmichael. When's the last time he got passed?
No question. I think that's what Chad needed, though. The Aussie anger, and Ricky comes right back, takes a much better line, gives him plenty of room, and Chad takes him wide.
Once again, Chad Reed coming back with an aggressive pass. Those are all clean passes. I'm very impressed by the way they ride. I know Mike Brown and Ryan Hughes might knock each other into the ocean at this point if it was those two guys.
Rusty Holland, your leader. Joe Alof now sliding back to third. No, make that fourth to Chad Reed, and Ricky Carmichael is coming through. Reed's in second. Carmichael's in third, and keep your eye on that battle as Holland sits out in front.
This is the first national that we've seen Rusty up toward the front of the pack since Hangtown. He had a good start of the season, and I'm very impressed with him. I have a feeling it's not going to be long before these three guys come by, Reed, Carmichael, and Windham. Windham did do a good job recovering from that bad start, but Rusty Holland, it's his moment in the sunshine, his 15 seconds, I guess it would be.
Hopefully it lasts longer than that, but Kevin Windham doing a great job. I mean, since we thought we counted Kevin out, just wasn't into the game, he comes storming back. He's had Washougal victories last year, really put it to Ricky, and Ricky's a motivated rider, wants to keep the streak alive. And Chad Reed, maybe that's exactly what he needed to get his head on.
Yeah, he might have got under Ricky's helmet there, passed him twice like that at both times, kind of aggressively. Now Reed's come on the inside. Looks like Rusty just went too far out. Gives up the inside, so Holland slips back to second. And I think he's going to let Carmichael go by too. Okay, it was 30 seconds.
I took a little long. Good sun.
Good ride for Rusty.
Bottom line, the winner here are the fans, because we've got an epic one shaping up here in the front. Ricky Carmichael and Chad Reed, a very motivated Chad Reed out in front, 22 on the Yamaha bike. Number 4, Ricky Carmichael on the Honda. And here comes 14, your winner last year, Kevin Windham.
Ricky got in the whoops faster this time. He tripled out into him, and Chad looks like he only doubled. So Carmichael's starting to reel that ground in already.
Can you be a dominant supercross rider and dominant motocross rider?
You'd have to ask Jeremy McGrath or Ricky Carmichael. It is possible, but it's tough to sustain it for a long period of time.
Kevin Windham now sits in third, joins the party. We've got a great one here at Washougal. Reed, Carmichael, Windham, Holland, and Alof top 5. We are back to Washougal, your leader right now, Chad Reed. Ricky Carmichael looks like he's getting set to take that line and take a bail cover, and look how close he cut that line when he went in front of Reed.
Man, that was a really nice move. He just kind of ran him out of real estate. That wasn't quite as aggressive as the other pass, but nonetheless, I think Chad Reed got another message there. Man, I can't wait for the Supercross season next year.
Get your tickets, folks. January 8th, Anaheim, #1. Unless you want to go to Europe, or actually it's been released, it's going to be in Canada, Toronto and Vancouver. So for the North American folks, very close.
Those are going to be good races too.
No question. But we are in motocross racing action right now. This is round number 8 of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. Todd Harris along with Davey Coombs pulling double duty, working the pits and the booth. Always glad to have the founder and editor-in-chief of RacerX Magazine with us. Kevin Windham, though, back in the race, and this is exactly what he needed, Davey.
Yeah, he needs to get his confidence back up. It's been a long season for Kevin Windham, long in the sense that this is the first time he's pulled a full year since back in 2001, and that's when he kind of had his meltdown, and ultimately ended in an injury. And now I think that the months, the laps, the main events, the motos are starting to wear on him, and he's been letting Ricky and Chad get away from him. And he just can't do that here at Washougal. He's got to stay with them, and that's what he's done. He's moved up, caught him here at the beginning of the moto, and now Rusty Holland, who's our early leader, he's still holding on for fourth. He's got Rodriguez behind him, but Rusty Holland, a very good ride.
How do you pronounce Rodriguez's first name again?
Joaquim Rodriguez. I used to call him Joaquin, but you're Portuguese.
Stellar. There it is, folks. Joaquim Rodriguez, 5th place. Oi, como vai, tudo bem, as they would say over in Portugal. Rodriguez right now running 5th, Holland just ahead of him, and it is the trio out in front of Carmichael, Reed, and Windham. Sounds like a high-priced law firm, just the best in the motocross business. Well, here he comes, and just before the commercial break, David, we talked about, can you be a crossover motocross, supercross athlete? And I'll pose the question to you again, and if you can't, why not?
Well, when Stanton was winning titles back in 89, 91, 92, he was able to get it done both times. McGrath did it in 95. Carmichael, we saw it, 2001, 2002, 2003. Reed has it in him, but he's got to get faster outdoors.
So those three continue to run out front. Here comes Ezra Lusk coming into view. Ezra, welcome back. We haven't seen him since March of 2004. That was in St. Louis when he got injured. Great to have him back. Number 12 on the Yamaha is DV, the Cobra. David Vuillemin just behind Rodriguez, who sits in 4th place. So Vuillemin trying to get his mojo back on again as he comes sweeping through there with that style, number 12. Let's send it down trackside. Davey Coombs has made his way down there. He'll be talking with Jason Haynes.
Jason, we're watching David work his way up through the pack. You got to be surprised by Rodriguez on that KTM up there.
Yeah, he's riding really good on his track. Some people seem to do pretty good here.
I'll tell you what, your rider's got to get a better start if he's going to race with his teammate Reed, RC and Windham.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. He's been up at the front at every national up until now. It's like a pretty tricky start here.
David Vuillemin, number 12, on board that Yamaha, looking to work some kind of French magic right now, but he's got a very motivated Rodriguez 108 on the factory KTM, looking very sharp. The young rider out of Portugal. We saw him 2 years ago on the THQ World Supercross Tour do a phenomenal job in very difficult conditions. But Davey, you talked to Jason. What's going on with 12?
Well, David did not get a very good start. He has been all summer long, but when, here at Washougal, I know how Ricky feels about this race. Right. I know how Windham feels, and Reed is just really starting to get up there with those three guys, or those two guys outdoors. If you don't start with them, you cannot finish with them.
So David Vuillemin now sitting in 4th place. The Cobra moving up to the pack. The Yamaha team rider still has a lot left in his tank, and I think he's a very talented rider, but you pointed out, the bar has been raised that much more. You've got to be able to run with them from the get-go.
And on a slick track like this, David Vuillemin has always been good. His bike always tracks really well. I think it's the weather growing up in France and riding in the rain a lot. So he's got the speed. He's just got to get the start. RC, he didn't exactly get the best start, but he moved up too quickly, and you got to do that.
Ernesto Fonseca coming into view, 24, riding in the Honda. Ernie looking good. He has really bounced back well. Not as quick as Ricky did, but on the knee injury that he had in San Diego last year.
Yeah, and this is a two-stroke battle. Right now, the two highest placed two strokes in the field. And Ernesto riding really well. And I saw him talk to the Eric Kehoe this morning. I saw a big piece of paper. I have a feeling Ernesto might have been pulled off the market this morning and might be staying with Big Red next year.
I mean, good news for him and good news for Big Red. They certainly need some marquee riders, as they have lost quite a few as Ricky Carmichael has made the jump over to Suzuki.
Ezra Lusk now moves past Rodriguez. I almost said it wrong that time. Lusk is riding really well. We've missed him in the Outdoor Nationals for sure.
And the only thing I think you'd have to question with Ezra is his fitness. How long can he go? Can he do the 30 minutes plus 2 being away for so long?
Well, Ezra, we just talked about Fonseca's deal for next year. Ezra is still looking for something. I have a feeling that puts a little extra gas in your tank when you know your job's on the line.
Well, it's like a good old-fashioned Supercross. Ezra Lusk, Ernesto Fonseca, Ricky Carmichael, Chad Reed, the usual suspects are all up there, and our fine young Portuguese rider, Joaquim Rodriguez, currently in 6th place. Ricky Carmichael, your leader. When we come back to Washougal, we'll wrap up Moto number 1, Carmichael, Reed, and Windham, 1 through 3. Mike LaRocco only needed 21 points to wrap up the 1994 250 title, coming into round 10 at Washougal. But the only thing on the Rock's mind that day was taking his 6th win of the season. After patented mid-pack start, LaRocco ended lap 1 in 11th place. He easily passed into 10th when Mike Healy had a spectacular get-off in the crowd. And by the end of the moto, went all the way to 2nd behind winner Jeremy McGrath. The 22 moto points gave Mike the title, but he wasn't going to smile until he won. A top 5 start in Moto 2, LaRocco quickly passed Mike Craig for 3rd. Then John Dowd for 2nd. And in the same spot, Larry Ward for the lead and the overall victory. LaRocco finally let loose and felt good about enjoying the championship and the win. And 10 years later, Mike LaRocco not at Washougal.
And I'm amazed that he actually did what looked like a cross up there on the highlight package. Mike LaRocco, of course, came back for 1 race. He did the race at Redbud, his hometown race, basically. We might see him at Millville. There's been a rumor, but
always good to see the Rock out there. Meanwhile, this is Ernesto Fonseca and Ezra Lusk. Moments ago, we saw Sebastien Tortelli. Tortelli a bit off the pace. He was sitting in 10th place. But this is Fonseca in 5th and Ezra Lusk in 6th. So the rumor is Ernesto Fonseca staying with red. Ezra Lusk maybe in blue, maybe...
It's hard to tell. Mach 1 Motorsports certainly likes having Ezra there alongside Heath Voss, but with his injury and stuff, and also Ezra Lusk, I mean, that's a marquee name. He commands big money. And, the results haven't been there because of the injuries, but, he's a veteran. He's gonna sell product for you. He's gonna get in the magazines, and fans love Yogi.
And Terry Beal, who is the PR guy for Yamaha, would love to have Ezra Lusk in their tent because, like you said, the guy sells. Ezra Lusk has been a proven winner, and a lot of kids that grew up watching him love him.
Well, Doug Henry's another one of those guys with the absolute star power in his name, but Doug's efforts and energy now focused on farming back home in Connecticut and a new supermoto career. And he knew he was going to get tired out here because this track's a lot rougher than what he's been used to. Remember, he hasn't been in Southwick since last year.
So Doug Henry continues to toil out in Washougal, and you make a good point there, Davey. This is a lot different than supermotoing. But he is a full-time farmer, but we're just glad to have Doug Henry back there on the track. From Doug Henry in 20th place, we go to Ricky Carmichael, who is our leader, and he is starting to check out in classic Carmichael fashion. Number 4 got a great start. Right now, let's check it in with Davey Coombs, who's with Mike Gosler.
Mike, another day at the office for you and the champ.
Yeah, this is the one he really wanted to win pretty bad, so we're halfway through the day.
Yeah, I know a lot. We always talk about riders making a transition from 2-stroke to 4-stroke, but you as a mechanic had to as well. How's that been?
It's been pretty good. The Honda 4-stroke's awesome to work on it. I've actually got a ton of 4-stroke experience back from the street bike days, so it's a lot easier than a street bike.
Now, Mike Gosler could fix a broken toaster. That guy knows plenty about mechanics. Just give him a wrench and turn him loose. And he'll turn this guy loose. We're on the white flag lap. Ricky Carmichael, your leader after some great battling with Chad Reed in some of the tougher corners here at Washougal. Carmichael has emerged as the leader and the dominant leader at that. And, Davey, you just talked to Mike Gosler. His job's got to be pretty easy, especially this season.
Yeah, his job's easy, but he's got a tough decision coming up, Todd, because I guarantee you, Ricky Carmichael wants to take Gosler with him when he goes to Suzuki, but Mike has been in Honda for a long, long time. He's very comfortable in the Torrance office there. His son rides a Honda right now, and that could go either way. I think that just as Ricky had a tough decision making the spring, I I think Goose has a big decision to make coming up here as well. Oh, Ricky getting a little close to a lap rider there. Makes it through cleanly.
Wow. So Carmichael, the white flag, has a bit of a run in there. Seems to be unscathed. This is Ernesto Fonseca having a great run. Ernie running in 5th place and possibly riding for the guy he'll be riding for next year, the Big Red team, staying put. Ezra Lusk, welcome back. He is in 6th place. Haven't seen him since St. Louis, but Ezra having a great ride, possibly looking for a ride for next year's season. And here comes the 23 bike. Is that Lucky?
That's Kyle Lewis. He does really well here at Washougal all the time, and riding 7th right now, just like Ezra. He's been off for a long time. Good to see him back in the points, back in the top 10 where he belongs.
Carmichael goes through the shadows once again at the Tall Pines here in beautiful Washougal, the Pacific Northwest. He travels cross-country. And for what? The checkered flag at Washougal, Moto 1 winner, Ricky Carmichael. Well, it looks like the cover of Racer X right there, Return of the King. Ricky running that similar Fox gear as we go back to the battle with Lusk and Kyle Lewis. Lusk, number 11 on board the Yamaha. Lewis, number 23 coming in there. And this is the battle for 5th. Just ahead of them is Ernesto Fonseca.
You see Nick Way at the Suzuki also getting in the thick of things. A really tough battle. This is for 5, 6, and 7. Imagine if Carmichael and those guys weren't out there. This could be the last lap of an amazing battle.
Well, for Ezra Lusk not having raced for quite some time, you've got to respect this guy's fitness.
And Fonseca's been out for a long time, too. I mean, right now it's like, if I'm Nick Way, I'm not real happy about the 3 guys out in front of me because those are 3 guys who were on the bench for much of the season.
Nick Way trying to find a way to crack into the top 6. Here he comes. They're starting to crowd together. They'll make a couple more turns and they'll see the checkered flag, but Ernesto Fonseca not letting anyone pass. Looks like a great day of trail riding right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful back there in those woods. It's kind of hard to see sometimes.
Nick Way not being able to close on Kyle Lewis. Here it comes, Ernesto Fonseca. And on the outside, here comes Ezra Lusk, and at the line, Lusk just edges him out, so Ezra Lusk picks up 5th place. Ernie goes back to 6th, and then Kyle Lewis and Nick Way sliding back in the pack as they come out through the shadows. This is Doug Henry, number 19, currently sitting in 21st, so what Davey talked about is true. Here's a guy who's a full-time farmer, part-time supermoto guy, coming out to Washougal, all the way out to the west coast from Connecticut, and it is taking its toll. 21st position, but we're always happy to have Doug Henry on the starting line. Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael telling Chad Reed, hey, I really didn't mean to run into you, and hopefully Chad understands that. We'll talk to the winner after this break.
The new usual.
Back in Washougal as Kevin Windham gets cleaned up at the conclusion of Moto number 1. Davey Coombs is down on the podium with your winner.
I started coming up, you know, through the pack and got behind Chad, and we were going back and forth, and I drove it in on the inside, and he came in a little further on the inside, and I expected him to, and we bumped. I was like, whoa, he looked back at me, and I'm like, oh, man, I ticked him off. And then we kind of went back and forth, putting some block passes, but the track isn't really ruddy, so it's really hard to, like, make a pass and make it stick because you set so much up, and, you know, and then Jason Thomas was in front of us, and he was kind of messing us up a little bit, and but it makes it tough to pass, you know, just because there's no lines really, just it's all outside stuff.
As we take a look at our Suzuki results for Moto 1, it's Carmichael, Reed, Windham, Vuillemin, Lusk, Fonseca, Lewis, Wade, Tortelli, and Joaquim Rodriguez rounding out the top 10. Michael Byrne checks in with an 11. There's Jason Thomas, 12. Joe Aloff, 16th. Right now, let's send it back down to Davey.
Kevin, you guys had a nice 3-way going there at the beginning of the race, and it seemed like you lost touch with the leaders.
Yeah, they pulled away from me a little bit, and, you know, I was definitely disappointed in that. This track's been so good to me in the past, and the fans are awesome. And they were still cheering me on back there in a distant third, but obviously that's not what makes me happy. So, you know, the fans, yeah, but the third, no. So you know, I got to go back and remount and, you know, be the Kevin Windham I was 2 years ago, or last year when I came back, and just start having a little bit more fun.
Also taking place here, the 3rd annual Scott Pro Board Sports MX National at Washougal.
You know, this is a chance for guys like Steve Cavallero, Ian Price, and Darren Rolfs to come out and show what they can do on wheels because they're the best boardmen in the world. And this year, it was Ian Price who got the win Darren Rawls, maybe the world's fastest downhill skier, got himself a third.
So we are waiting for...
Hey, nobody does more to protect your right to ride than the American Motorcyclists Association. Every racer on the track is an AMA member. How about you? Call 1-800-AMA to join or visit AMADirectLink.com. The AMA, rights, riding, and racing. It's now time to go outside the lines.
Here we go. The white flag is out. Let's see what happens. Stanton goes to the inside. Jeff Ward jumps right over the top of Jeff Stanton. He's moved up now to within a bike length. He's going to try to dive underneath, and he does. He rammed Jeff Ward. Stanton rammed Ward, the two of them side by side. Look at that. They bumped in midair. Now going to put a lap rider between himself and Stanton come out of that tunnel jump.
Would you welcome your Supercross champion, Jeff Stanton! Stanton is the champion!
We're back at Red Bud Track and Trail, where one of the all-time greats of American motocross, three-time Supercross champ, three-time outdoor national champ, Jeff Stanton, has chosen his home track to announce his retirement.
In the span of 5 seasons, Jeff Stanton won 37 AMA Supercross and motocross races, and at the age of 26, retired with 6 national titles. This season marks the 10th anniversary of Stanton's surprise 1994 retirement from the sport. The Michigan native turned professional in '87 and gained notoriety in the now defunct 500cc championship, riding an outdated air-cooled YZ490. Stanton's Midwestern upbringing was a long way from the warm weather of SoCal. There was no flashy nicknames or tricks bearing his namesake. Stanton's personality was shown and left on the track every time he raced. And every title Stanton won, he earned and gained a reputation as the toughest man on the track. Nobody bullied him around, and nobody could wear him out. Sounds like another rider we know today. 10 years later, Jeff Stanton is still with American Honda as a team advisor, where he coaches riders and continues to help the brand win championships. But most importantly, he's found the time to start and raise a family of his own in the same town where he grew up, Sherwood, Michigan. That's where Jeff lives with his wife, Sarah, and their 2 children.
When we come back to Washougal, moto number 2 of the 250 class, will Carmichael go 1-1, or will it be Windham's day once again? Stay with us.
At 1-800-DIRECTV or Dish Network at 1-800-333-DISH.
Welcome back to Washougal as we get set for moto number 2 in the 250 class. Let's check in with Davey Coons.
We've seen Ricky Carmichael go undefeated to this point in the season. We've seen it happen before in 2002, but for some reason, this race at Washougal is the one he was really looking at as the one to get him over the hump. He lost to Kevin Windham here last year. The first moto, he laid down the law. Carmichael is going into the second moto thinking if he can win this one, it's just 6 more to go. We might see history repeated again, another perfect season. He's just got to get through this first turn.
All right, RC getting a fresh pair of shades from Anthony Apaggio at Oakley as we take a look at the Honda starting grid. Ricky Carmichael, Chad Reed, Kevin Windham, David Vuillemin. Jason Thomas was in there a little bit. I mentioned Ricky talked about him, and Joe Aylock. I think he can get another start like he did in moto number 1.
The first turn here at Washougal is amongst one of the most difficult to get through on the AMA Motocross schedule. It's a tight left-handed hairpin almost with a bank corner. RC didn't get a great jump last time. See if he can get better coming out of the gate this time. And I think he did.
Look at that.
He did.
Carmichael sweeping to the outside, and he is on it.
He must have read the script this week.
I think he talked to J.D. Coons before. Right behind him is number 22, Chad Reed. So it's Carmichael and Reed leading him to the green flag lap. Moto number 2 from Washougal.
Carmichael is so tough to beat when he starts out in front of you. But the first moto, Reed had something for him. Let's see if he can get back up there. Back to the new Supercross section they put up on top of the hill. The Huffman family really did a nice job on the track. As you can see, it's a little dry right now.
Yep.
And wow, look at the chop coming out of that corner.
Kevin Windham currently sits in 4th. He got 3rd in moto number 1. But Carmichael, your winner in moto 1, is out in front. the mission for Chad Reed. If you're in Chad Reed's ear right now, what are you going to tell him?
I would get up there and I would try and catch Ricky again, just like in the first moto. Of course, it was kind of payback the first time, but right now he's got to remind Ricky that he is getting better outdoors, because Ricky knows exactly how fast Chad is indoors.
The fans here at Washougal, some of the most knowledgeable in the country, they come out, and I think they live vicariously through these guys because they are the best in the business.
And you know what? They're going to get a double treat next year, because Supercross is coming back to the Northwest with the Seattle race over in the new stadium, and also the World Supercross round. One of them will take place just across the river or the bay in Vancouver. So Washougal was able to kind of sustain motocross in this area for a few years when the Seattle Supercross wasn't on the AMA schedule, but now it's back.
So Carmichael continues to lead here in Moto number 2. We've got some great battles in the back of the pack as we try to slide back through. Into the shade, there's Nick Way, number 27, going through on his Suzuki. There's David Vuillemin, number 12. And Heath Voss having a good run here. Voss currently sitting in 4th place. Carmichael brings him through on the first lap. Then it's Chad Reed and Kevin Windham, 1, 2, and 3. That's how they finished in Moto number 1. But now it's Heath Voss coming through on board the Yamaha. And then our favorite felt rider, Joaquim Rodriguez on the KTM. Nick Wade having a great run, currently sitting in 6th.
Yeah, a much better ride for Nick, at least here at the start. Oh, and I think we just saw
someone just washed out.
Trying to kickstart his bike, Heath Voss. He DNF'd the first moto. Aqua Motorsports rider, not having a good go of it here at Washougal.
If he has a 4-stroke fever or what, as we get a face full of roost. Hopefully our cameraman will have a tear-off.
It was a great ride for Rodriguez.
Oh, no question. He had a great ride in the first moto. Man, this kid's in possible podium position if he can get ahead of Windham.
KTM's had a tough year, and Rodriguez is the one guy that's been up there in the 250 class, even then not consistently, but with Grant Langston pretty much completely parting ways with the motocross team, he's just going to do a little supermoto. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to keep Rodriguez for next year, although they have said they want to do an all 250F team. The kid's just been hurt too much this year. I don't know. He's got to be the national champion of Portugal for whatever that's worth.
No question about that. KTM is an interesting scenario. They've already signed Josh Hansen for next year. Do they bring Woods back on? And there's rumors out there that they're going to try to land a big fish.
Well, they have Nathan Ramsey and Ryan Mills also coming to the team. They might bring Rhino in, but you know what? You never know what's going to happen with the Alessi family. And we're going to see them at the next round of the 250 Nationals, and they show up in Millville. Mike making his debut just 1 week from this one.
Mike Alessi already jumping to the 250 class. What do you think's behind that decision?
I don't know. That's a very ambitious plan, but I think that Mike knows that there's no pressure on him to win the 250 class. But if he rode the 125 class, there's some guys that already have their eyesights and their targets placed firmly on his back. I think that Mike is taking the safe way out here. Plus, he's not bad on the 450. He'll get right in there and mix it up with these guys. Right there, you see Casey Johnson starting to move up. This is the battle for 12th. And there is Sebastien Tortelli. Todd, I can't believe that Tortelli is, he's had a tough day. He had to ride the LCQ this morning. Barely made it into the program. Had a tough go of it in the first moto, falling in the first turn. And he's still riding hard, and I think that that's what DeCosta's impressed by. I think he'll be back with Suzuki next year, as we spoke about earlier.
There's the gap between 3rd and 4th. Kevin Windham sits in 3rd. Number 27 is Nick Way out of Michigan, coming through in 4th. And then they're just about going 2 wide, double deep as they come through the start-finish. Look at this, Ernesto Fonseca getting back in the mix. On the left-hand side of your screen, number 11 on the Yamaha, Ezra Lusk. Rodriguez is in there, as is David Vuillemin, number 12, on board the Yamaha.
It's a nice riding there by Rodriguez. Right there, he went too far to the inside, and Lusk pays him back. That's a neat little S-turn section. It's kind of one of the trademark sections here at Washougal. Always fun there because there's always some passing.
You've ridden this track before. Would you describe it to the fan as a very tricky track or wide open, or?
It's deceiving. It is. It's fast, but boy, you get in trouble quickly because of all the little chop and stuff. It's really wide, and I know the riders just love it. You don't see it.
Right down.
That's Rodriguez. You don't see a lot of 3 and 4 wide battling on any track, but you've been seeing some now.
We'll step aside when we come back. More Moto 2 from Washougal. And we welcome you you back to Washougal. This is round number 8 of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. Todd Harris along with J.V. Coombs. Glad you could join us for this second moto in the 250 class as you look at David Vuillemin 12 and Ezra Lusk 11 doing battle. Looks like Vuillemin's found a little extra strength.
Yeah, Vuillemin looks a little better in this moto. He looks like he's charging forward. Carmichael, see him take a look back over his shoulder. As you can see, there's not a lot there. Reed comes through, not as close as the first moto, and Reed in turn, nice little gap on Kevin Windham there. Those three guys have really started to separate themselves. This is a shot from back in the woods, and I don't know where the other, and there's Nick Way. Finally, Nick Way comes through in fourth, Vuillemin fifth, Ezra Lusk and Ernesto Fonseca. A lot of good talent up there, but kind of spread out right now.
No question, you said moments ago, same as it ever was. Ricky Carmichael out in front doing his thing, but Nick Way, is this a audition for Team Suzuki next year for Nick Way?
You know what? They really like Nick Way. The problem is, I have a feeling Suzuki had to open up their checkbook and their wife's checkbook to get Ricky Carmichael signed to the team, and they know that Tortelli has more speed than Nick Way. There's no doubt about that, but Nick Way has been a good soldier for DeCosta. There you can see Tortelli starting to move up on Mike Byrne. Nick Way's been a good soldier, and you know, if he just gets it together, he might just be a late bloomer. Stanton was a late bloomer.
Oh, and late blooms right into a soil sample at Washougal. So kind of an uncharacteristic fall. I mean, he just the front end, did it wash out or stick or what?
Let's take a look at the replay. You can see him come in. He's really aggressive. Locks the back wheel up just a little bit there. See that slide, but then the front end goes over the berm and just plows a little bit. Down he goes.
And Roger DeCosta taking a deep breath right there, seeing his rider get back up. With Sebastien Tortelli, you do not want him on the ground. He's had too many injuries, so good to see him back up and riding. Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael just flying through the forest. And on the other end of the spectrum, Doug Henry, 37th place. I think he's just happy to be finishing the track here at Washougal. Good to have Doug Henry here. It's great to have Ricky Carmichael. Let's go trackside with Davey Coombs.
Hey, check it out down here in the signaling area. This is the second moto in a row. The Mach 1 Motorsports Yamaha rider, Heath Voss, is pulled out early. He was running in the top 5. But you can see he's not too happy. And there goes Voss. His day is over. Riders dropping out left and right here. Doug Henry's running around the back of the pack, and check out Kyle Lewis. Had a solid first moto on a Moto Triple X Honda. Looks like he went down. See him talking to his mechanics, something on the bars. Kyle Lewis joins Heath Voss on the sideline. His day is also done.
Well, Kyle lucky, Lewis not so lucky today in Washougal. Meanwhile, Michael Byrne from Australia on the Kawasaki number 26. After this event, he's on his way to Southern California to take part in the 6th annual Fox Surfer Cross put on by Mike Parsons and Jeremy Albrecht. Meanwhile, here's Tortelli makes a pass on Michael Byrne, so the 103 of the Suzuki back up and running well. After that little get-off down there in that one corner, Tortelli's got his game back on. He sits in 8th place. Let's head back down the track and J.V. Coombs see what's going on.
We told you at the top of the show about Doug Henry coming out and riding this race instead of Southwick, and it turned out just a little differently this time. Henry pulling in to the mechanics there. I think his day's over. Check it out. He finished 21st in the first moto. That means he's not going to score any AMA National Motocross points. As a result, I'm not so sure that his number 19, his permanent number, is going to be safe, and that's always the reason Doug comes back out and rides. So who knows? Maybe we'll see Doug in one of the last 3 Nationals left in the 2004 season.
So Doug Henry's day is done. It was good to see him, but that's a long way to go from Connecticut. Come out here to Washougal on the other side of the country and have your day in like that. We wish him the best. Meanwhile, Sebastien Tortelli making a big move on Ezra Lusk. And Sebastien finding newfound strength in here. Unbelievable. Tortelli was in 9th, slid all the way back, had the crash. Now he's up to 7th and moving up quick as Michael Byrne also goes by Ezra Lusk. Ricky Carmichael continues to lead Moto number 2 from Washougal, and he is putting a distance on the rest of the field. When we return, we'll have more Moto 2 after this. Carmichael, your leader. Information. And we welcome you back to Washougal. This is round number 8 of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. Todd Harris along with the founder and editor of RacerX magazine. And this is a great battle for 5th. Tortelli and Vuillemin.
Yeah, think of it as the French National Championship out there. This is what the fans of France have missed for the last half dozen years. Tortelli and Vuillemin, and also, of course, Brancata racing in America now. And you see Vuillemin lose that spot to Tortelli. He takes a look around his shoulder there. Tortelli, definitely the one moving forward, but it goes back to what we were talking about. He's got the job locked up for next year, or he's got a job he's worried about. Vuillemin has a job locked up, and late afternoon, track getting rough. This guy's so far out front. Some guys are just probably content to ride it out.
Look at the back end of that 450, though, as he goes through there, Davey. It's just skipping around, and Carmichael controls it at such high speed.
Yeah, and here you see another Honda. That's Ernesto Fonseca on the CR250. And yeah, I think Vuillemin's probably ready for this moto to end.
David Vuillemin just running out of gas, not literally, but figuratively in the physical fitness department, because Ernesto Fonseca just blew past him.
Fonseca having a really impressive comeback, I gotta say. He was out for a long time. He's never really raced 250 National Motocross before. And since he's been back, he's been very aggressive. And, like I said, the Honda bosses must have seen enough to give him a shot again for next year. And I'm real happy for Ernesto. He's a good guy. Just had some tough luck the last couple of years.
Had the surgery on the knee after San Diego. He's making a slow comeback. And speaking of slow, David Vuillemin is going awfully slow right now, where everyone else is just speeding up, because here comes another rider. It looks like Michael Byrne, the 26 bike, just flying through. And Vuillemin, I think, is starting to get the message.
Right, fades the outside. This is exactly what Tortelli passed him last time. He's going to put up a little more fight this time. But, yeah, I think Vuillemin needs to, I think he's just ready for this day to end.
Michael Byrne was running well, faded just a little bit. He's got his second win. So Byrne slides into 7th place. Vuillemin drops back to 8th, and it was just a short time ago that David was sitting in 5th. So Davey pointed out he's ready for this motor to end. Meanwhile, back to Ricky Carmichael out in front and putting on quite a show. Carmichael on that big 450F and enjoying it. A lot of people wondering if the transition to the new bike would be okay. Look at that, the back end sliding out again. No Kevin Windham battle today. It has been all Ricky Carmichael, as Chad Reed now sits in 2nd place, 25 seconds behind your leader, Ricky Carmichael. Unbelievable. Let's send it down to Davey Coombs.
I ran into a special guest down here in the mechanics area. This is Jeff Spencer, the trainer for Team Yamaha's Chad Reed. And Jeff just got back from France, where he spent about 3 weeks touring around the country with Lance Armstrong. It's been a good year for you. Chad Reed won the AMA Supercross title, and you always get to work with Lance and his team, the U.S. Postal Service team. What do you got planned for next year?
Well, I think, again, the tour next year, and I think, again, Chad's, attempt to try to be prepared to win a second consecutive title.
You got Carmichael coming back, and James Stewart. Could be a tough year.
Well, I think it's going to be great for the sport. I mean, there's nothing like competition, 3 different personalities, 3 different riding styles. I think it's great for the sport.
All right. We'll let you get back to watching Chad.
Appreciate that. Thanks again.
Jeff Spencer, one of the best in the business, works with the best in the business. Just don't let him catch eating a Twinkie. Meanwhile, back to the racing action. This is the battle for 4th. Nick Way and Sebastien Tortelli, both of them hoping to catch the eye of Roger DeCoster, and both of them absolutely working those Suzukis. Well, that was the corner where Sebastien Tortelli went down earlier in the race, and look at him. He is absolutely tracking that bike, very aggressive in the latter part of the race. Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael, even when he takes his tear-offs off, he looks smooth. Let's send it down to Davey Coombe, who's standing by with Mike Gosler.
Mike, that's 9 in a row for you guys. You just keep it going.
It's not over. We still got a half a lap to go.
Okay. Well, in a half a lap, it'll be 9 in a row.
I hope so.
How does he do it? I mean, you guys have had such a good relationship working together, but he just never seems to miss a beat, and neither do you.
He's got the drive. It's just amazing, I mean, I don't know what to say about the guy. He's an amazing rider, amazing drive, amazing people around him. It all seems to work.
You guys make a good team.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much, Davey. We just talked to Jeff Spencer, Lance Armstrong training, and this guy, he dominates the world of motocross and supercross like Lance Armstrong dominates cycling. Ricky Carmichael, what can you say about him? He is absolutely fantastic. Pound for pound, maybe the best rider on the planet. As Carmichael comes through, the white flag is out, and now it's going to go to a checker. Your winner from Washougal, RC Ricky Carmichael, picks up his 9th in a row. As Carmichael cruises through the late afternoon shadows here of Washougal, we take a look at our Suzuki final results. It's Carmichael, Reed, and Windham going 1, 2, and 3. Sebastien Tortelli with a great run to get 4th. Henry not making the top 20, but Justin Buckaloo did, as did Rodriguez. Let's send it down to Davey Coombs.
Marcy, another one down. That's 8. You got 4 more to go.
It's slowly ticking away, and you know the championship's the main thing. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, and we're gonna keep it going. See what happens. I knew these last 3 weeks were gonna be tough for me, and they really were. Not just because of the tracks, but when I almost killed my leg, blew my leg off at Unadilla. But we got it down, and 4 more to go. I really enjoy the tracks coming up.
And still plenty of tear-offs to go. So your overall winner, Ricky Carmichael, goes 1-1. Chad goes 2-2, and Kevin Windham goes 3-3. Back down to Davey.
Chad, a very good ride today, but again, Carmichael just gets away kind of early.
Yeah, you know, I was right there. It's me, no one else. The bike was much better in the second one. I kind of struggled a little bit in the first one. And, just trying to work on it. This is a very difficult track for me, and so I'm glad to, you know, finish 2-2 to Ricky here and be able to hold Kevin back there.
So the points look like this. Carmichael a perfect 400. Chad Reed 60 points down, and Kevin Windham 83 down. Speaking of Kevin Windham, he's with Davey Coombs.
Kevin, you've had some excellent days here in the past, but today just wasn't your day.
No, it wasn't, but I still got a podium finish, and that's good. You know, it's nothing to be too upset about, and I mean, it's obviously not as good as what I normally do here, but you know, Ricky's been riding strong, and I mean, he's got a good season going, and right now, I guess Chad and I are just focused on trying to shut it down. We definitely don't want to have a streak happen again, but Ricky's riding good, and you know, it's hard to even keep him in my sights right now. So, you know, just week in, week out, just trying to focus on the game and just lose seconds here and there, tenths of seconds.
That'll do it from Washougal. For the hardest working man in journalism, Davey Coombs, I'm Todd Harris saying so long. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Thanks for joining us. Your winner from Washougal, Ricky Carmichael.